Learning objectives. After completing this module, learners will be able to understand and describe the terminology associated with climate, understand and describe the controls of climate, understand and describe the controls affecting climate in India, understand and describe the causes of formation of monsoons in India, understand and describe the advancing and retreating monsoons in India, understand and describe the seasons in India, understand and describe the distribution of rainfall in India, understand and describe the unifying effect of monsoons in India. Climate terminology. Climate is the average pattern of weather conditions of a region for over a period of 30 years. Weather is the condition of the atmosphere at a particular point of time in a place. Temperature, atmospheric pressure, wind, humidity, and precipitation affect weather and climate. Seasonal reversing in the direction of winds in a year is called monsoon. India has a monsoon type of climate. Coriolis force is an apparent force caused by the Earth's rotation. The Coriolis force apparently deflects winds towards the right in the northern hemisphere and towards the left in the southern hemisphere. Jet streams are fast-flowing, narrow westerly wind currents at very high altitudes above 1200 meters in the troposphere. Their speed varies from about 110 kilometers per hour in summer to 184 kilometers per hour in winter. Westerly cyclonic disturbances develop in the winter months. They originate in the Mediterranean region and influence the weather of the north and northwestern regions of India. Tropical cyclones are part of the easterly flow and occur during the monsoon as well as in October-November. These disturbances affect the coastal regions of the country. Convergence Zone ITCZ. The Intertropical Convergence Zone or ITCZ is a belt of low pressure near the equator. The northeast and the southeast trade winds converge in this zone. It moves north or south with the apparent movement of the sun. In the northern hemisphere summer, it moves to north, and in the northern hemisphere winter, it moves to south. Controls of climate. Latitude, altitude, pressure and wind system, distance from the sea, ocean currents and relief features are 6 major controls of climate. Latitude. The Tropic of Cancer divides the Indian landmass into 2 equal parts. The southern part has tropical climate and the northern part has subtropical climate. Altitude. The average elevation in coastal regions of India is 30 meters and that in the mountains is 6,000 meters. The tall Himalayas shield the Indian subcontinent from the chilly winds from Central Asia. Pressure and wind system. 3 atmospheric conditions affect the Indian climate. 1. Pressure and surface winds. 2. Upper air circulation. 3. Western cyclonic disturbances and tropical cyclones. India lies in the region of northeasterly winds. They develop in the high-pressure belt of the northern hemisphere and move southward to the low-pressure region near the equator. They are dry winds which do not cause rainfall, yet India is not a dry region. Southwest monsoons originate in the southern Indian Ocean. Since they blow over warm oceans, they absorb moisture. They move in the southeasterly direction, cross the equator and turn right towards the low-pressure areas that develop in northwest India in summers. These winds, called southwest monsoons, bring heavy rainfall all over India. In winters, winds from the high-pressure areas that develop to the north of the Himalayas blow southward to the low-pressure areas of the oceans in the south. There is a complete reversal of the directions of winds in the summer and winter seasons. The upper air circulation in North India is influenced by subtropical westerly jet streams. Except for summer season, the southwesterly jet streams blow to the south of Himalayas all through the year. In summers, the westerly jet streams shift to the north of Himalayas, causing western cyclonic disturbances. An easterly jet stream blows over the Indian peninsula approximately at 14 degrees north in the summer season. The Indian monsoons. The monsoons are experienced in the tropical area roughly between 20 degrees north and 20 degrees south. The formation of monsoons in India is affected by 1. Differential heating and cooling of land and water creates low pressure on the Indian landmass. Areas of low pressure attract winds from the sea, which is experiencing high pressure. 2. The Intertropical Convergence Zone, or ITCZ, usually positioned at 5 degrees north of equator, shifts northward over the Ganga plains in summers. This shift also triggers monsoons in India. 3. Presence of the high-pressure area east of Madagascar, approximately 20 degrees south on the Indian Ocean, pushes winds to the low-pressure areas on the Indian landmass. 4. During summer, the Tibetan Plateau gets intensely heated. It results in strong vertical air currents and the formation of low pressure over the plateau at about 9 kilometers above sea level. The movement of the westerly jet stream to the north of the Himalayas creates western cyclonic disturbances in winter months. The presence of the tropical easterly jet stream over the Indian peninsula during summer atmospheric pressure too contributes in the formation of Indian monsoons. The periodic change in the atmospheric pressure over the southern oceans, the Indian Ocean and the Pacific Ocean is called the Southern Oscillation, or SO. SO is connected to El Nino, a warm current that flows past the Peruvian coast at an interval of 2 to 5 years. It affects the pressure conditions. Therefore, it is also called the El Nino Southern Oscillations, or ENSO. Onset of monsoons. Generally, the monsoon reaches the southern tip of the Indian peninsula by the first week of June and divides into the Arabian Sea branch and the Bay of Bengal branch. The Arabian Sea branch moves north and reaches Mumbai by 10th of June. By mid-June, it reaches Saurashtra, Kutch and the central part of the country. The Bay of Bengal branch, too, reaches Assam by the first week of June. It gets deflected by the mountain ranges and turns towards the Gangetic Plains. Both the branches meet over the northwestern part of the Ganga Plains. Delhi receives rainfall by the end of June from the Bay of Bengal branch. By the first week of July, the monsoons reach western Uttar Pradesh, Punjab, Haryana, and eastern Rajasthan. By mid-July, they reach Himachal Pradesh and the rest of the country. Withdrawal of monsoons. The withdrawal of monsoons begins in early September. By October, the monsoon completely withdraws from the northern half of the Indian peninsula. The withdrawal is rapid in the southern peninsula. By December, it has completely withdrawn from the remaining parts of India. The islands receive the first showers by the end of April or early May, progressively from south to north. The progressive withdrawal from north to south occurs between last week of December and early January. By this time, the influence of the winter monsoons begins in the country. The seasons. The cold weather season starts from mid-November in northern India and continues till February. During this season, the northeast trade winds blow from land to sea, causing a dry season. At this time, an inflow of cyclonic disturbances from the west and the northwest bring winter rains over plains and snowfall in mountains. The winter rainfall, called Mahavat locally, is good for rabi crops like wheat. The hot weather season. Due to the apparent northward movement of the sun, the global heat belt shifts to north, resulting in the hot weather season. March, April and May are the summer months. The temperature may vary from 32 degrees centigrade to 48 degrees centigrade in the northern plains. The peninsular India is not affected much due to the moderating effect of the sea. Strong dry winds called Lu blow in summers. Dust storms in May bring light drizzle, providing relief from the intense heat. Advancing monsoons or the rainy season. The monsoon season begins in India in early June. Intense low-pressure conditions on the northern plains in June attract southeast trade winds which blow in a southwesterly direction and enter the Indian peninsula as southwest monsoon. Almost the entire country receives rainfall from the southwest monsoons. Retreating or transition monsoons. Due to the apparent movement of sun towards south in October and November, the low pressure over the northern plains weakens and the southwest monsoon winds begin to withdraw. By early October, the monsoons withdraw completely. By mid-October, temperature falls rapidly in the northern India. The low-pressure conditions over northwestern India shift to Bay of Bengal by early November. It gives rise to cyclonic depressions. These cyclones bring heavy rains on the eastern coast of India. Distribution of rainfall. While the west coast and the northeast India receive about 400 centimeters rainfall annually, the western Rajasthan and parts of its adjoining states receive less than 60 centimeters rainfall. The interiors of Deccan Plateau also receive low rainfall. The rest of India receives moderate rainfall. Depending on the nature of monsoons, the annual rainfall is variable in each season. Monsoon as a unifying bond. The northern India experiences high temperatures, whereas the peninsular India, under the influence of the sea, has moderate temperature. The seasonal alteration of the wind systems and the associated weather conditions provide a rhythmic cycle of seasons. People from all over India eagerly await the monsoons as almost the whole landscape of India, including the flora, fauna, agricultural calendar, and festivals, revolve around the monsoon. It seems to have a unifying effect on the people of India. Summary. Let us summarize what we have learned. Weather, climate, Coriolis force, jet streams, tropical storms, western disturbances, and ITCZ are important terms in the context of Indian climate. Latitude, altitude, pressure and wind system, distance from the sea, ocean currents and relief features are 6 major controls of climate. Formation of monsoons in India is affected by latitude, altitude, differential pressure and surface winds, upper air circulation and western cyclonic disturbances, tropical cyclones. Monsoon reaches the southern tip of the Indian peninsula by the first week of June and withdraws completely by the end of December. India experiences the cold weather season, the hot weather season, the rainy season, and the transition monsoons. Parts of western coast and northeastern India receive above 400 centimeters of rainfall annually, whereas western Rajasthan and adjoining parts of Gujarat, Haryana, and Punjab receive less than 60 centimeters. The remaining country gets a moderate rainfall.